Man, when you ask a question like, are we treating insecure people well, essentially, is that what you said?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the answer to that. I can tell you examples in my life where I have treated insecure people well. But I can also tell you, even little old humble Matt Paris, who's always painting himself as the hero in the story, seemingly, has absolutely put salt in the wound of those insecurities.
I have never once heard you.
Well, I'm just saying, I want to be clear.
Make yourself the hero in the story.
Oh yeah,
you're usually like this little thing, and I'm like, whoa, hold on, let's blow this.
That's what I do.
Quick.
It's something. It's something that was.
Hold on, no, this guy, he is the hero. What?
This was born.
I'm not letting you get away with this.
No, I'm not getting away with anything. This was born in my classroom. As I would tell stories that have happened in my past, there's some of them that, man, I look like a really smart guy. So I started offsetting those with like, here's a time I looked like an idiot.
Well, that's fair. Not everybody does that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do that, but I mean, like, yeah, that's fair. I get it.
Yeah, and I like that. It keeps me balanced,
Yeah. Because you are a smart guy and you've been a dummy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because that is the human experience, and that's what we're trying to share with people. Mm-hmm. Like all these rules, I think, get back to that notion of how are we treating people.
Welcome to Downright Mindful. Stories that stick, questions that matter, and conversations that make you think. Let's get right down to it.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, Paul?
Hey, the golden rule.
To love your neighbor as yourself, or treat others the way you want to be treated?
Which one?
I mixed them up.
You put...
Well, I think it's the same.
You went with the greatest commandment.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, treat others the way that you want to be treated. Isn't that the golden rule, essentially?
You can't give me like the do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Isn't that what I said?
Yeah, but you use the word like treat.
Treat. Okay. Do unto others.
Like we were going to like Dairy Queen, getting a treat.
Yeah, I just said it maybe in my language. Sorry about that.
All right. Give me another way to say that then. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Can you give me another way of saying that?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of did. Treat others as you would want to be treated. That's one way to look at it.
Now give me another way, or give me an example.
Well, one example is, when I hear people, maybe tearing someone down or something, I've always tried to hold this little sort of a rule of thumb in my heart of, you know what, man, I don't want to be judged for the worst thing I ever did or maybe my worst moment. So why don't we give that person that same respect? Usually it's someone did something or someone made this mistake or did something horrible, and just in your daily life you just hear people talking about it or this and that, and say something like, yeah, I don't want to be judged by my worst moment, so let's not judge that person by that, because I that's literally the truth. There are moments in my life and things that I've done or didn't do, and that's not who I am. And I don't want people to base who I am off of that. Did I just take a rabbit trail?
Nope, but you kept it pretty general and pretty vague. Share something specific. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So basically, like Matt Paris, how do you want to be treated? I'm asking you that question before I get to some more specific story.
I mean, obviously, I want to be treated well. I think anybody would.
If we were creating a social contract, what does that mean? Give me 3 words.
Yeah, well, here's one. And I shared this with an adult friend of mine the other day. He has people that work for him, and he also deals with high school athletes a lot. And he had quoted himself saying something to one of his adult assistants. And it sounded a lot like something he would say in the same tone and in the same words of the way he would say it to that high school athlete in this old school way that he holds true to and does well with it, seemingly. But I was like, man, can I share something with you? And he was like, yeah. I was like, I'll never work for you.
So, hold on. You're saying that he talked to an adult like he would talk to like a teenager?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. I said that to say you can't do that with Matt Paris. I mean, it's not happening. I'm to the point in my life I don't have to take it, and I'm not going to take it. And I am just educated enough to where I will seek a peaceful resolution, but I'm just immature enough where you better not catch me in the wrong spot. You know what I mean?
What are you going to do? Go silent, or are you going to walk out the room?
Well, I don't know. That's like saying, what would you do if someone broke into your house? We don't really know.
Well, I mean, no one's disrespected you that way in the last...
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, okay. Yeah, well, then I'm asking. Because I'll be... just in the last, let's call it 10 days, Sarah has looked at me red in the eye and said, yeah, that tone that you're using with me right now, it's like, I'm one of your students. Stop doing that.
Yeah, it's not cool.
And I was like, whoa, no, but whoa. I was like, I don't think I am. You see? And then that went into this other, how are we going to navigate this conversation and figure this out and come to some resolution? Yeah. Because you think I'm using this tone, but I'm not using that tone. But if you think I'm using that tone, then we are in a moment, and we had to figure that out. Yeah. But no one, once they get into their 40s, hey, welcome to 40s, buddy. Wants to be talked to that way. But also a teenager doesn't want to be talked to that way either. Am I right or am I right?
You're right.
Yeah.
Typically in a healthy relationship between an adult of authority and a teenager, hopefully by the time it comes to a tone like that, it's because that teenager has shown that they're not capable or haven't shown the ability to react to a nicer tone. Does that make sense to you?
It makes total sense.
I've said to my kids before, hey, you didn't hear it the 4 times I said it nicely, so now I've had to be a little meanie about it, and I don't like that, and I don't appreciate it. Please just respond when I speak to you,
Okay, so when you're talking to 37-year-olds, you're telling me that you haven't interacted with a 37-year-old that just kept not getting it?
I will not consistently do that. It may happen once or twice of hey, do you hear what I said? But if that person displays that, that's just who they are.
I think I'm full circle now. So what would you do now? What do you do now? Do you go silent? Do you walk out of the room?
Yeah.
Do you say something?
Because listen, some people live in this dynamic where arguing about things is a thing. Matt Paris, do not live in that dynamic. And I won't consistently. Will not. Won't happen. Including to the level of I love my job and I love my profession, but if I couldn't get along in that space without that, I wouldn't be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
I'm serious about it. So yeah, there's been times where someone I work with all the time and get along with just fine, we found ourselves in maybe a miscommunication or whatever, and I've had to say hey, listen, I know I kind of have this thing about me where I act like everything's cool, but I'm serious about this. I need you to hear me when I say this isn't going to happen or whatever. That's fine. That's happened before. But if that is just a consistent fit, if this 37-year-old now is just showing me that's just them, now I'll pass you in the hallway and say hello, good morning, how you doing? But outside of that, we're probably not going to communicate very much.
So is there a line, a limit? You and I use words like threshold of how much. So let's go back. Treat others the way you want to be treated. You want to be treated with respect. That's what I'm hearing. You didn't use that word yet, but does that sound about right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So the golden rule says treat others the way you would want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of left at that. So what I'm hearing you say is maybe there is a line, maybe there is a limit, maybe there is a threshold to how much respect you can give to someone, even though they're not giving you the respect back. Do we still follow the golden rule? You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How's that work?
So would you indicate that me sort of building a wall would be not going by the golden rule?
I'm asking you.
Because I'm still going to I already said, I'll still, hey, how you doing? And the communications that we have to have, They're going to be pleasant.
So professional relationships are different than more personal relationships then.
Yeah.
But are they? I'm asking.
No. I said yeah, just as a reaction, but no.
Do we have lines and limits and thresholds with more personal relationships?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's all kinds of people that have been heavy in my life that are no longer heavy in my life because of the things I have to endure for that to be a thing. And I just remember that time I said I won't do it. I won't. I'll still love you. I still wish well for you. If you were to call and say, "Hey, I'm hungry," I'd do my best to feed you. But we're not gonna be boys. I'm doing something different, man. I'm not living in your mess. That hurts to say.
But I mean, like the golden rule, man, like this is okay. You ever heard of the silver rule?
No.
It's a thing out there. You ready?
Okay.
Do not do to others what you would not have them do to you.
Okay, so it's just the
See
sort
the
of the flip side. Yeah. There's action with
it. Hey,
it.
don't do that. So like, what would that mean? What would that mean for you? What would you not do because you definitely don't want that your direction?
Well, I think my first general example would be better described as your silver rule, by me not taking someone's ugliest moments or worst mistakes and judging them based on it, because I don't want them to do it to me. And the inverse of that is, the example that we've been living in for the past few minutes. I'm not gonna talk ugly to you. I'm not gonna talk to you like a child, because I don't want you to do that to me. Don't want it.
You wired that way? Did you pick that up somewhere along the way? Has someone been that and you're like, I want to be that too?
Man, I tell you, maybe.
I mean, because you might tell me a Mama Pear story. You might tell me a Papaw story, right? You may tell me, hey, man, I picked some stuff up once I became a dad and just like I was this and now I'm that. Maybe you pick some stuff up because, you've talked about mentors now for, months. Where you think that wiring comes from?
All of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all of that. I think my dad kind of lives that life too. My dad's not going to be super hard on you because he knows he's broken as well. And he don't want you being hard on him, And he also, you could say anything to that guy as long as you hold your mouth right. You could tell him how ugly he is and how rotten and how dumb and how pitiful or whatever you wanted to say to him. If you held the right tone with him, he could take it. But if the minute your tone gets out of order, he turns into a different human. He's different.
Are we all that way?
I don't know.
Do we turn on tone?
I don't know. I mean, yes. I mean, to some regard, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about going from the nicest human you've ever met to like literally a nightmare. You better get out of their space or get help or something. I mean, it's a flip.
Still, let's take the healthier vein to this of like, you're in a situation and you're working alongside, trying to help. And you're with some folks that they've been through some stuff. These are some broken people. And, all of us are wounded in some sort of way. Some of us pick up some skills to navigate the world, but some don't, and we're associated with them. Can you, and if you can, when do you think this happened in your life of being able to, even when someone switches to some other tone, that's just too much. Like it's socially unacceptable. But like there's something within you that just knows who this person is, who you're working with. And like, if you match that or if you return that, then like this will just go sour. It will go south real quick. Like that reservoir of grace, if you want to call it that. You can call it patience if you want to. Did you pick that up? Because you're a pretty patient fella. Did you pick that up before you started teaching? Do you have it in the classroom? Did you pick that up somewhere along the way, working in the jail, knowing you were with people that were obviously in a place where like, gosh, this ain't rock bottom. This is pretty doggone close. And sorry, man. I'm gonna throw out a side question too.
Yeah.
Is everyone in jail at rock bottom?
No, I don't think everyone is. I think there's levels to it. There's those people that are sitting in jail right now that they have a lot of hope. I mean, this is a short-term inconvenience. This is probably costing them money. This is probably costing them, maybe some friendships or relationships, but it's not costing them their life. But then there's people in there that, they're not getting out. This is now their life. That's pretty rock bottom. Yeah. And there's even levels to that. I'd say if you're that person and your mom's still calling you and your lady's still calling you and telling you how good the kids are doing and all that, because it's a real thing in jail, man. Jail's stressful. But that person who has burnt the bridges and they go in there and there's no letters, there's no phone calls. If there is, they do make a phone call. They get sourness and bitterness and things aren't going well on the outside. That there's nothing more helpless than being that dude or that girl who's in there and your family's not doing well and there's nothing you can do. That's rock bottom.
Yeah.
But I have a problem with your earlier statement. I don't think I'm a patient guy at all, or I would have a lot different rules. I'd be able to navigate those tough conversations consistently. That would display some patience. I think I might seem patient on the outside to some people because of the situations I won't get in.
So you've developed a skill set to where your external demeanor can appear to be patient, but inside,
absolutely,
you're a rage monster, like inside out.
Yeah, well,
I mean, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, we all either have these skills or we don't have these skills, and somewhere along the, skill by definition is something you have developed.
Yeah, I know when I developed it.
Yeah, tell me that. That's the core of my question.
I'm a 20-year-old corrections officer, and I'm in there, and they bring us in, and these are people that they're dealing with all sorts of personalities, and they're training you. Hey, ask nicely for someone to do something, and if that doesn't work, give a statement, a command for someone to do something, and if that doesn't work, we're going to follow up pretty swiftly by making them do what we want them to do. Okay, that was how it was.
So there's a 3-tier system. And how long does that take? Is that really an ask, a tell, a boom?
That's
within like 8 seconds, within like 30 seconds?
No, we want to give them some. Now, there's a difference in the way that person or those people intended it then and what it actually probably should be. But at 20 years old, with no other life experience, but just growing up a little bit of a ruffian, okay. I mean, let's do this. So I start sort of living by that mantra, and looking back, it's by the grace of God, I survive. Like, I don't get fired or I don't get in trouble for using force quickly. You know what I mean?
No, I don't, because I have no experiences. I only have an imagination.
Well, a beloved person in my life at that sheriff's office, because we're going in, this is 2004, we're going to head into a sheriff's election soon. And they educate me like, hey, man, I see what you're doing. I get it. You work for an elected official, and we're going into election season. Now, if this continues and this person who's running for this office starts hearing complaint, what do you think's going to happen? You think they're going to back you up? You think they're going to go to fight for this young 20-year-old who's got a little quick trigger?
Is this a real conversation someone had with you?
It's an absolute real conversation someone had with me. And God help, I was 20. You know what I mean? Somebody should have had that conversation with me when I came through the door. Not, hey, ask them, tell them, then make them. I didn't need. There's a lot of kids at 20 years old at that time that probably needed that because they were they were just soft, they were just very timid or weren't, they couldn't go to those places of authority, I guess. I don't know how to say that.
No, I mean, my 20-year-old experience, I'm going to class, buddy.
Yeah.
So are you talking about people working in the jail, or when you're at 20, you are a youngin', aren't you? Was that an exception back then, being at 20 and being in the position you were in?
Yeah. I mean, me and Marshall Hicks were the youngest people at the sheriff's office. He's a few months younger than me, and he had started before I did.
Did he start at 19?
Yeah.
Marshall. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. He started at 19, I guess. And I started, November 2004. I'm 20 years and a few months. I'll turn 20 in February. Yeah, we were young, man. But, you could have that conversation with a lot of people. Hey, ask them, tell them, make them. And they're not going to take that too serious because they don't want to make them. I don't want to have to do that. That is wild. I was too dumb for that. Like okay, I'll do it. And I just went in there and went nuts.
Well, I like your previous answer. I don't think you were dumb. I think you were a ruffian. Like you had been in some situations before. You weren't scared to scrap.
No, I'll scrap with you.
Some physical force ain't that big of a deal.
No, but thank God somebody came along and was like, hey, man, like we got to pull the reins just a little bit.
Yeah.
But they did it in a loving way. I think they saw the other things that I was good at, and they saw potential, and they didn't want me to just be that kid that just fizzled out because of one thing, one weakness, How'd we get here?
Well, because we're doing the Olympics. So if you've got gold and you've got silver, what else you got?
Bronze.
Do you know there's a bronze rule?
I did not.
Do unto others as they have done unto you.
I don't like that rule.
Why not?
Well, it's fine as long as they've treated you good.
Okay, but they've treated you well, so treat them well. But
yeah,
go there. What's the other option?
So the inverse of that would be if they treat you like trash, you treat them like trash.
Yeah,
I don't like that at all.
Well, it's kind of whoa, hold on now. I mean, it almost sounds biblical. This probably is the closest one to the old eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
You want to live by that?
I mean, I'm going to live by the ancient Jewish scriptures. It's in there, right?
Well, the New Testament says if you choose to live by those scriptures, you'll die by them.
Also, in the Christian scriptures, Jesus comes along and actually quotes that. You've heard it said, eye for an eye. And then he ends up saying, do you know what he ends up saying?
No, I keep thinking of it makes the whole world blind, but he did not say that. I don't believe.
Well, bumper stickers say Gandhi said that, which he may have said something close to that, but that's the turn the other cheek.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, the original intent, when you go back to the eye for the eye and the tooth for the tooth, its roots are in a 1-for-1. So like you're my neighbor and oh my word, you just somehow just killed my sheep on accident.
Yeah.
You owe me a sheep. So I can come over to your house and I can go claim a sheep or something equivalent.
Yeah.
But think about human nature. And I'm imagining this goes back thousands of years as well. Of like, usually ruffian talking to you, growing up as well, not as scared of a scuffle. You push me, Matt Paris, and I'm going to push you harder. You punch me, I'm probably going to give you a flurry, right?
Sure, yeah.
Let's back it up a little bit. You yell at me, I'm probably going to yell a little bit louder. Like we usually don't even that ratio of tension. We usually up the ante, right? We usually escalate things.
Well, you know that thing that makes you want to yell back? It makes me want to fist fight you. And that's what I'm talking. I'm not saying
you're skipping a step.
I'm not saying I will.
Yeah, but you want to.
But I'm just trying to give you an illustration of what I'm trying to explain a few minutes ago. Yeah, if a grown man just looks at me like I'm a high school football player and yells at me, I only got a couple options. It's to walk away and not communicate with this person. or it's to absolutely dominate them physically or in some way or form. Or I don't have the I'm going to yell at you kind of. I don't have that. That's not an option for me the way I see it. I'm not telling you what's right. I'm not saying that's the way it should be.
You're making this personal. I love it. Yeah,
I'm just telling you who I am.
You're telling me a Matt Parris story.
In that moment when someone yells at you and you want to yell back at them, that's not the response I have. And I think listen, I'll be honest, you're my therapist now. I think it comes to doing with like, I had a big brother who was always bigger than me, always stronger than me. He's got a state champion ring. He's there's nothing I can do. So as I'm a kid, if he wants something, he gets it. If I have something he wants, he can take it. If there's a song on the radio he don't like, he can turn it off, no matter if it's my favorite song. And
sounds like it is getting personal.
It is. But like you're asking me, so anytime an adult in my life invokes that feeling to me, it's like, no, not happening.
Yeah.
Because you're not bigger and stronger than my brother, and I've fought him all my life. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Let's go.
I do. So my sisters are older than me, 4 and 6 years older. And so, I mean, like, shoot, when I'm 6, like if we end up like fighting about something, we have to rip something away from each other, or we're getting pushed, or, we're whatever. Yeah. They're 10 and they're 12. Yeah. By the time I get older and now I'm strong enough or stronger, that's over. And, we're not doing that anymore, are we? So, it's crazy. I mean, it didn't matter that they were my sisters. And my oldest sister, Tracy, she's a dang athlete. I mean, she's one of the strongest in the neighborhood. She was that, we're going to go play football and she's going to be picked first all the time. That really did bother me. She was 6 years older than me, but I mean, like she could, I'm 10, but she's 16. Yeah. She's out there just getting it done in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But there is that moment where you become strong enough, and I'm not going back to that. But if we're talking golden rules, no matter how I'm wired or how I've been socialized, if we're talking the silver rule, if we're talking the bronze rule, but there's another one. This is all out there, man. I did a little run on this probably, probably last summer, and just kind of tucked it away just out of curiosity. Because, I love my study of influential historical figures. Mm-hmm. And they all kind of have a view of the world, and we have a view of them through the lens of history, but kind of in their moment. There's another one. It's called the iron rule. You ready?
Okay.
This makes me think of your brother. Okay. But do unto others before they do unto you. Were you able to ever get a jab in on your brother? Snatch something away before your brother could get it? Get away with doing that before he finds out? And even your brother may not be the best example, but like when you think about this old iron rule, as we talk about, because we can talk about individual relationships and then we can get to this like higher, this is a preemptive strike by definition. So we can talk war on this one. Do unto others before they do unto you. This ain't the golden rule anymore, is it?
No.
How do you see that? What's your first thoughts on this one?
Well, it's silly kid stuff from my teenage years. We all, hopefully at some point, some dude in our life has said, like, whether it's your dad or your uncle or whoever, like, hey, don't start any fights, but, finish. You ever hear anything like that come from an adult male in your life? And some would even go as far as to say, like, don't throw the first punch, but you make sure you throw the last one, that kind of thing.
Every kid who ever got in a middle school fight, I think, has said those words to me. Yeah. That somebody in their life had told them to finish a fight no matter what.
Yeah.
Guys or girls, didn't matter. A lot of middle school fights.
But there's
some high school fights.
With my brother, and maybe with some other ruffian activities as a teenager, I developed I'm not throwing the second punch. I'm not letting my brother throw the first punch. If I think this is about to go down, I'm trying to hit him 4 times before he hits me 1 time, Now, I know that's very elementary at its core. But yeah, I mean, my mind has been there. My mind has gone there. I don't want to throw the second punch. There's a lot higher likelihood I'm going to win this fight if I throw the first punch. But no, and as far as in life goes, I can't think of. I'm not saying it's not true and it's never happened, but I can't think of a time when I tried to do something to somebody before they did it to me. Is that self-righteous of me to say?
I mean, there's another side of this coin. You ever been in love?
Yeah.
Of course you have. So, isn't it possible to do something for someone before they do that thing for you?
Oh, yeah.
See where I just went with that?
Yeah.
See, like I want to flip, like I think everything has, another side to it. You know what I mean? And as we were just kind of talking about this, I mean, it's gotten real violent real fast.
I know, man. I'm a violent dude. I'm sorry.
Whatever. None of us have seen it in this season of life we have shared together, but I know it's in you. I mean, no doubt about it. You can't tell a story with that twinkle in your eye without knowing that these aren't true stories. But there's this idea of, living by particular standards, call them rules, call them commandments, call them whatever you want to. But we all have something that, you use the word consistently early on, or we're really inconsistent. So whatever word we pick, there is some belief system that we hold on to, that we attempt to either live by or think we should live by. And it's interesting when you start looking at these things of like, which one of these do we most consistently live within? And I ain't even done. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
What's more valuable, titanium or platinum? Like, I really don't know. I'm asking.
I have no clue.
Platinum? Titanium?
Am I just guessing here?
I mean, we're trying to figure this out together without looking something up.
Oh, I got you. Well, if we look at like, who is it? Sony that puts out the records, like who puts out like your record went gold or your record went platinum.
I mean, that's just the record labels, record companies, records.
Well, they
sell, what is it, like 1 million or whatever it is?
Well, I don't think they have a titanium album, do they?
Why? Because it's more valuable than platinum, or that just doesn't exist? There's a titanium song. That was a big deal. Did that go platinum? See that one? See that? Let's go platinum first. You ready?
Okay.
So I got 2 more.
All right.
Platinum rule says this. Now, let me pause here just for a second. Who in the world is making all this stuff up?
Well, I was about to ask, where are you getting this from? So
there's some Jesus in here. There's some Confucius in here. There's like economists are in here. Think that iron rule. There's sociologists in here, studying like human behavior, this kind of things. And so it's all over the map. Or any of these like, well, let me just jump right back in this.
Yeah.
Platinum rule. You ready?
Yeah.
Instead of treating people the way you want to be treated. Now let's pause one more time. Platinum, like that's more valuable than even gold.
Okay.
Right. So this is like next level stuff. Instead of treating people the way you want to be treated, you should invest time in discovering how they want to be treated.
Okay. So instead of them giving the treatment that I would want, maybe consider that treatment doesn't fit them well and figure out what treatment. Okay, yeah. That's pretty high level stuff.
Did we just land on Gary Chapman's 5 love languages?
Yeah, for sure.
Because remember, we usually show love, according to his theory, by the way we want to be loved, but we could totally miss, right? If,
yeah,
I'm going to give you all kinds of quality time. I'm going to snuggle with you, but all you'd prefer to have some acts of service, right? And a gift, right? And I can totally miss this. So investing that time in discovering how they want to be treated. So I'm about to go teach class on Monday over at Lee in a philosophy of education class. And, we're going to talk about these ideas. I don't know if I'll go through all of these because, you can really camp out on each one of these. But there is that idea of know your stuff, know your audience, and know yourself. that's Parker Palmer. I've mentioned his name before.
Uh-huh.
But almost without exception, when I'm hanging out with adults and we are in like a learning community of we're teaching other people something, whether that's like parenting, whether that's teachers, whether that's coaches, whether that's, I always love giving that reminder, whether it's up front or it's at the end of, man, you got to know your stuff, do your due diligence, right?
Yeah.
But you got to know your audience. You truly have to know your audience if you're really going to connect. You can bring all kinds of content, right?
Mhm.
You can entertain people, but to truly connect with people and have things stick and stay, like, I mean, you got to get to know your audience. I think this is where this one really lands.
Mhm.
And then know yourself, but discovering how they want to be treated, whether we're coaching a team, whether we're teaching a class, whether we're raising some kids, whether we're loving on our spouse, shoot, even friendship. It's kind of some next level stuff when, like, it was funny to start looking this up because you know how Google will take you from one thing and then it'll throw you another thing and then another suggestion and then you just kind of keep clicking and
Yeah.
no way that I thought that I would land on. I think there's 6 of these that we're talking about here. I want to assume the best that you, at somewhere along the way, got to know Valerie and continue to get to know Valerie. But who else along your journey? And you can love on your wife right now if you so desire. But who else along your journey? Someone that I may not have obviously known. Have you really taken the time to discover who they really were just so you could deepen that connection, that friendship, that relationship, that love? They come to mind right off the bat?
No, I mean the first two that come to mind are obviously Valerie and Kyler.
Yeah. Well, speak to that.
You know, getting to know getting to know Valerie is one thing. We could do a whole episode on our wives if you want to sometime. But the rate at which they evolve, let me put it that way, is a lot less rapid than taking a kid from his actual birth date to his early years of adulthood. I mean, that person is developing who they are, how they talk, how they think, what they like changes seemingly from week to week. So that was always a fun challenge to stay in tune with that, because you know these 2 books that I always mention, the 5 love languages and How to Raise a Modern Day Knight, they say what they say, but then when you seemingly figure it out with that 7-year-old, you blink your eyes and he's now a 10-year-old. And
That's a different creature.
that's a different person
Yeah.
than what you were dealing with 3 years ago. So staying
Add
in
another
tune.
3 years. Let's just do that for fun. Now he's 13. Oh, my word.
Oh, God.
Add another 3 years.
He's 16.
What?
Man,
Add another 3 years.
19. That's tough. Yeah.
And watch this one. You're going to add another 3 and your boy will be
22. Yeah.
and
25.
I mean,
Is
I'm
that-
just going to go. I mean, isn't he engaged?
Oh, yeah. He'll be
Is that
married.
public knowledge out there? That I
Yeah.
just-
Lord
we
willing.
need to edit that out. Or was I
Yeah.
allowed to share that?
No. Yeah. That's fine. He and his girlfriend got engaged on Valentine's Day. And yes, by the time he's 23, he will be married if the Lord wills and the creek stays where it's at.
What a combination.
Well, the book of James says to say that.
Does it?
Yeah. Yeah.
What verse is that?
Well, it doesn't say those words, but it says you shouldn't say tomorrow I will go into this city and I will do these things. You should say, if the Lord wills, then I will go into this city.
Yeah, I've heard that one before, but not it's the Cotton Patch version. You ever heard of that?
That's the cut. No, I haven't.
You haven't?
No, I don't think so.
You haven't heard about the Cotton Patch versions of the Gospels?
No.
I need to put this in your hands, man.
Cotton Patch.
Yes, somebody went and took the gospel message, Matthew, and turned it into like Atlanta is Jerusalem.
Shut up.
No, you've never heard of this?
No.
I will give you my copy next time I see you.
But I did watch that movie you talked about. Did I tell you that already?
No, what'd you think?
The Gospel of is it Clarence?
Yes.
I really enjoyed it.
I told you it was entertaining.
I thought it was fun, man. I thought it was a blast.
Did you watch it with Valerie?
Yeah, at least most of it.
Yeah.
I don't think she enjoyed it near as much as I did.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. What would it have been like if Mama Paris was in the room?
I think it would have been okay. She would have probably been like, this is stupid, but I don't think it would have been like, turn that garbage off.
No, because it's not garbage.
No.
That was kind of my point.
No, it's not garbage.
But it's not the scriptures.
No. By no means is it the scriptures. By no means. Now, one thing that she would have, I know we've totally hijacked this conversation. We're going to get right back to it, but I thought I was falling in love with this stand-up comedian the other day named Andrew Schultz. And I kind of did as a person. I heard him on a couple of pretty big podcasts just telling his story. And gosh, man, I was in. I was like, this is about to be my new Isbell. Like, this dude is... Tried to watch some stand-up of his the other day. Valerie's in the room. I had to turn it off. Like, it was so just putrid and vile through the whole... It's just... he don't have a lot of things he likes to talk about. Now, the last 5 minutes... And this is what I told Valerie. The last 5 minutes of that show was fantastic. And I'm not going to spoil it for you. It's his special on Netflix.
I already watched it, buddy.
Okay. The last 5 minutes of it was fantastic. I loved it. It brought me right back to, okay, yeah, there's the guy. There's the guy that I came looking for.
Yeah.
But most of it was just...
It's just raunchy. Yeah, I mean,
raunchy,
it's just,
raunchy beyond belief.
Says who was our conversation from last time, but I get
says
what you're
me. Yeah, says me. I'm drawing that line.
Yeah, because there are lines and there are limits and there are thresholds because that is who we are. It's how we're wired.
Yeah.
Or it's how we've been socialized.
Yeah. Bert Kreischer's the same way. I see that dude on a podcast. I really enjoy hearing him talk and, banter back and forth with other people. Try to watch him on like a comedy special, and he's 4 years old again. And I cannot, it's middle school locker room humor. And I just can't get on board with it.
Yeah.
And the second thing about that is all of the alarms that go off to me when someone lies to me, they're going off constantly with him. Now, I know a lot of people embellish their stories on stage, but they usually hide it pretty well. He does not. He's lying about almost everything he's telling you.
See, I don't even know who you're talking about now.
He's the guy that takes his shirt off on stage.
Oh, I do know who you're talking about.
But I've
never really watched any of his stuff.
He gets on a podcast and Stephen Wilson Jr. starts playing a song and he cries like a baby and just has all these great conversations. But then he gets on stage to do his thing and play this character.
Yeah. That's what a lot of them do.
He's playing to an audience that I'm not a part of.
My opinion, my interpretation, the best of them are not playing a character.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Mike Birbiglio, you know that guy? Watch some of his stuff.
Okay.
He is not playing a character. Yeah. He's kind of, he's vulnerable. He's the real deal. He's getting up there. He's storytelling, and you'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
That'll make up for your Andrew Schultz.
And listen, I'm not hating on Andrew Schultz.
No, you're not at all.
I think Andrew Schultz.
It's not for you.
Yeah.
But when he goes and becomes a guest on a podcast and isn't having to be that, to be a successful comedian for him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I get that.
Sorry to derail your
I love it. That was
silver medal party.
Oh, just because you just randomly picked one. How many have we talked about? Go in order.
Gold.
Yep.
Silver.
Yes.
Bronze.
Yes.
Iron.
Yeah.
Platinum.
And here comes the last one.
It's titanium.
Yeah. Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Are you singing that song for us? You know that song.
No.
You know that song, though, right?
Titanium.
Sing it.
Put me down, but I won't fall. Is that it?
I don't know. You probably started singing some country song just now.
No. Oh, well. So I'm a one-trick pony, huh? Is that what you're saying?
I don't even know how to respond to that. Titanium, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Encourages treating others not just as they want to be treated, but better than they expect to be treated.
Okay. So
give me a first thought.
Well, my first thought, and I'm gonna stick with titanium because that's what we're on.
Yeah.
We're elevating the golden rule.
Seems like it.
We're digging deeper down in the golden rule. I think we did the same thing in the platinum rule. I think it's just taking that and unpacking it. So the golden rule, it was do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I said, treat others the way you wanted to be treated. And what the platinum and titanium rule are doing is saying, hey, you don't want to just be treated well. You really want people to treat you well in your language, in the way that communicates with you specifically. We've already hit on that. And the titanium rule goes even further and says, do it so well that you exceed any expectations that they could have had of your treatment of them.
Are we in the titanium rule specifically like taking care of insecure people? Encourages treating others not just as they want to be treated, but better than they expect to be treated. Are we meeting insecure people where they're at and breathing life into them? Or are we surprising people in our healthy relationships by going above and beyond? Or should I, as I've been learning throughout, as I get older and learning some things, replace the word or with and?
Well,
what do you think?
I think you're going to have to give me one of those questions at a time.
Sure.
You brought up insecure people right out of the gate.
Better than they expect to be treated.
Specifically insecure people.
I mean, that was my first thought. And my second thought was, man, you treat people better than they expect to be treated. That means you've gone somehow above and beyond. And it doesn't necessarily mean that there was just something wrong or unhealthy. It could have been really healthy. And now this is just, man, this is fantastic. This is what it is. This is what it looks like to be in such a, I want a different word than a healthy relationship, and just this is the dream come true, that you could have someone treat you this way.
This is what it is to encounter an exceptional human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In any context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, when you ask a question like, are we treating insecure people well, essentially, is that what you said?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the answer to that. I can tell you examples in my life where I have treated insecure people well. But I can also tell you, even a little old humble Matt Paris, who's always painting himself as the hero in the story, seemingly, has absolutely put salt in the wound of those insecurities.
I have never once heard you.
Well, I'm just saying, I want to be clear.
Make yourself the hero in the story.
Oh yeah,
you're usually like this little thing, and I'm like, whoa, hold on, let's blow this.
That's what I do.
Quick.
It's something. It's something that was.
Hold on, no, this guy, he is the hero. What?
This was born.
I'm not letting you get away with this.
No, I'm not getting away with anything. This was born in my classroom. As I would tell stories that have happened in my past, there's some of them that, man, I look like a really smart guy. So I started offsetting those with like, here's a time I looked like an idiot.
Well, that's fair. Not everybody does that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do that. But I mean, like, yeah, that's fair. I get it.
Yeah. And I like that. It keeps me balanced,
Yeah. Because you are a smart guy and you've been a dummy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because that is the human experience. And that's what we're trying to share with people. Mm-hmm. Like all these rules, I think, get back to that notion of how are we treating people? And part of this is how we're treating ourselves. From the very beginning, that greatest commandment is, love the Lord your God. And that second greatest is love your neighbor as yourself. So there is some self-care involved in everything that we're talking about. And, a lot of these rules give a picture of kind of our own health, where our own heart is, the spirit of what we're doing, our intentions. Caleb and I recently had a conversation. I was snatching an episode from The Good Place. You ever watch that one?
No.
And it was all about motivations. One of the four main characters, she's going on this little diatribe and she's talking about how good she is. And then she looks up at somebody and realizes that's how she ended up in the bad place, because she has never realized that all of her motivations have been really selfish.
Yeah.
Because you can do all kinds of good things. all kinds of good things with some really sick motivations, some poor motivations,
For sure.
some sad motivations. And if we get to that place where that kind of becomes a default for us, and it's a tough life to live. And there's not a lot of healthy relationships in there. Probably not a lot of friendships, or at least friendships that last. So when we come back to these kind of rules of like, I just think it's curious of like, how intentional are we of how we see ourselves, how we see each other, how we see the world around us. Because when I zoom out as a historian and as a teacher, how in the world did we just drop an atomic bomb? Like there was a conflict somewhere that went unresolved.
Yeah.
And you back up. If I get this slide that that goes up on my board, and I think there's like 16 like steps from going from a disagreement to the dropping of an atomic bomb. And I mean, like, what do you do with a disagreement? Well, I mean, you can escalate it, and we can now yell at each other, and we can escalate it, and we can go recruit people for our side. We can escalate it and now take it public.
Mm-hmm.
We can escalate it and now go break something, steal something, burn something. We can escalate it and now we can hurt someone, kill someone. And then, the technology advances, and now we can hurt more than one person at a time. We can hurt a whole group of people at a time. And yikes, like how in the world do we get there? And like we try to ask that question as often as we possibly can. And so in doing so, I want to come all the way back to, if that's how we're capable of treating people at such extremes, but like those are extremes, like those are real, those are realities. How personal are these type of things? And I think all of these rules give a glimpse into what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. How do we, you asked the question like, all right, how do we drop an atomic bomb? And that just sort of opened a thought that I had. The other day, he sent me a text and was like, hey, there's a guy in South Carolina scheduled to be executed tonight. And this has been a couple weeks ago now. Yeah. So I start digging on this and just reading and looking up some stuff. And it brought me all the way to the thought of like, okay, here's this guy who decided to go into politics, and now he's the governor of South Carolina. And on his desk today is that final appeal for this man's life. Like, I don't care how decided you are and where you stand on certain, whether execution is the right thing to do or not. How crappy is that? Like because of something in your life has brought you into politics, and now here you sit in this position, and now you're faced with, hey, if you don't act, this person's life will end at 7 p.m. That's a tough day at the office for me.
Yeah. It's funny that your mind went there, because mine in discovering that was, how's this guy going to die? And what's his last meal? Remember we had those conversations.
That's KFC, wasn't it?
Yes.
Poor guy.
And the firing squad. Remember, that's how this whole thing started. Like, I mean, first of all, that's still in the books on like 6 states.
Yeah.
And this is about to happen.
Yeah. I think there's some political back and forth with certain drug companies that make the drug that you would execute these people with to do lethal injection. And that's been affecting a lot of decisions, including in Tennessee. The last couple people that have been executed in Tennessee were by old Smokey, the electric chair, and they had an option. So, anyways,
the electric chair has the same nickname as the Tennessee Smoky Dog.
I guess.
Yeah, that's terrible. Tennessee won last night, though. That was fun.
Good, very good.
You didn't stay up and watch it?
No, I'm done with basketball for the year.
Gotcha. Your nephew made a good run.
Yeah,
Walker
man.
Valley made a good run. That was fun.
They both had good years. So yeah, Bradley Central versus Hillsboro. That's pretty much my last basketball game for the year, I believe. Well, I'm lying. I'll get in
some March Madness.
I'll get into the end of this March Madness deal. I even watched a little bit of Arkansas and St. John yesterday, and I will get on board with the NBA once March Madness is over. I enjoy the NBA, especially postseason.
So stop telling lies.
I derailed your conversation again. Sorry about that.
No, you didn't. It was fun.
You got anything else, brother? You wrapping this one up?
I was going to give Zach the quiz on all of his alloys. Is that what those are? Alloys?
Are you going to do that on mic? Because I would need to get him a microphone. Zach Pike has just walked in with us.
He's shaking no.
He's shaking no. He don't want to talk.
Gold, silver, bronze, iron, platinum, titanium. Do you know all these rules to live by? Shaking no. See, I got to take this on the road. I got to ask more people.
Well, hey, those of you listening, talk to us about it. Comment on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you're at. Give us your input on those levels that Coach Salzwell's just walked us through. I just called you Coach Salzwell on this pause.
You've never done that in your
Paul
entire life.
Salzwell. He's just walked us through some levels. So tell us what you think about it. And thanks for listening. Anything else, Paul?
Nope, that's it.
We'll see you next time. Man, that's downright mindful. You've been listening to Downright Mindful with your hosts, Matt Paris and Paul Salzwell. Produced by Josh Morris. Intro and outro production by Derek Kinsey. You can find us wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. Thanks for listening.